Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Co-op Podcast, episode 212. I'm your host, Richard Billy Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Gary A. Swaby. How's it going, Gary?
It's going good. How are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. It's been a very, very busy weekend. I will get into that in a little bit, but yeah, doing good. Just taking it easy for today. We're also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
Doing excellent. Yes. And we are joined by Mr. Max Muller. How's it going, Max?
Hey, man, it's going pretty good.
That's good. We will not be joined by Mr. Lugo today. I believe that, he is doing things with his father because it's his father's birthday. So we definitely wish his father a happy birthday and many more. But yeah, there was a couple of news topics that happened this week, as well as, right now Evo is going on and D23. Some of D23 is still going on if it isn't already over. So we're going to get into some of that stuff as well. But before we do all of that, we have to let you all know what we have been playing. So, Max, how about you go first and let us know what you've been playing?
All right. I haven't been playing a whole lot. I've been playing the regular, Rocket League, a little bit of Forza here and there. But the one new game I've been playing is this game called Unbox Newbie's Adventure, which I found out is actually it's a PC game, but it's being ported to Xbox and PS4, which is why I have it for review. And it's an interesting game so far. I've played through, I want to say, 3 or 4 hours of it now. And it kind of reminds me of like Banjo-Kazooie style levels. They're much bigger, but Banjo-Kazooie style levels, like where there's a bunch of collectibles and there's a bunch of like little side missions in each world. And then you have like your hub world that you go to and everything. And there's a bunch of secrets in that and that sort of stuff. But the difference here is that you play as literally a cardboard box, and you run around trying to save other cardboard boxes is your main goal. And you have this move called unboxing, which basically it's like a jump in the air. Like you could just keep doing it. So you can kind of jump like 6 or 7 times in the air if you have all your unboxes. So the game is a lot more vertical than most other platformers. And it's a lot more difficult than other platformers because, like I said, you're a box. So you're not like on even ground all the time. Like you're moving around like as a cube. So you're bouncing everywhere. And it actually takes that into effect a lot. Like you'll have races and stuff where you have to like time your bounces to send yourself flying forward. And it's pretty cool, actually. At first, I was a bit worried because, to be honest, it doesn't run super well. Like there's a lot of frame rate issues. And to be honest, it hardly ever stays at 30. It's like usually stuttering. And the world's like the art style is pretty good, but the graphics are just bad in general. Like there's a lot of anti-aliasing issues and stuff like that that'll hopefully get fixed with like a day one patch or something like that. But in terms of how it plays and just how fun it is, it's definitely something I think that would be worth checking out. But it could get stale later on. That's the thing. I think it's a pretty long game and I'm only a little bit through, so I'll have to see as I get further on. It's not coming out for like another week and a half though, so there's definitely still time. But I've been enjoying it so far. Which is always good, So that's pretty much it for me.
That's awesome. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dana, how about you let us know what you've been playing?
Okay, well, I haven't been home to really actually play much, but I've been attending a lot of events and I've been playing a lot of different demos. So last week I had attended Blogger Bash NYC and I had the opportunity to play Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. The game is very fun. It's amazing. It's a much improvement from the first game. The graphics are just crisp and everything is bright and extremely colorful. I will say that it's a lot harder than the original game. It got so hard to the point I was talking to some of the developers and they were saying that they might have to make it a little bit easier because the struggle was definitely real. And a lot of adults were playing the game and it was a little struggle. And it wasn't even on like the hard mode. So I kind of felt very insecure after that moment. But I will say that so far everything is looking great about the game, and I'm looking forward to playing it fully. I also had the opportunity to play Sonic Mania. I played a new level. The name of it escapes me, but it's basically movie based. So it's Sonic bouncing around on a bunch of movie reels and popcorn, and it has the exact same feel as the original Sonic game, but the graphics again are much improved. There's a lot of different elements that they added to it. They really can't say how many different levels you can expect or everything that's going to be new. I wasn't able to really get that much out of the developers, but I will say that it's a game that it brought back all the nostalgia, all of the fun. And I also had the opportunity to play Sonic Forces, which again was very fun, and everything went very fast. And I'm older, so I got a little bit jittery, and everything was just a little too fast for me. But it was very fun. I think it would make a really great VR game, but it's not for VR. I'm just going to state that as well. It's not for VR, but if you had VR, it would be amazing. So those were the three games that I've played so far.
That sounds awesome. Let me just make a quick comment and say, Dana, you are only as old as you actually feel you are. So we know that you're very young. So
I feel very old.
Yeah, well, it's all good. Still glad to hear that you had a good time with the games. I'm looking forward to Marvel Superheroes too. So I'm not ashamed to say that because I enjoyed the first game. So we'll see how that turns out. Gary, how about you let us know what you have been playing?
Yeah, of course I've been playing Overwatch, and right now I'm trying to get to gold rank in competitive because I made it to silver. I just got to make it to the 2,000 mark in your competitive score, and then I'll officially be gold. So I'm hoping that I can get that before this competitive season ends. And I haven't tried out Doomfist in the PTR yet. I'm hoping that he'll actually be launched in the game this week coming up because they've had time to fix bugs and tweak him and stuff. So I hope that he's ready to be put into the main game, but we'll wait and see what happens on Tuesday. Besides Overwatch, I've been playing Persona 5 still, and I'm still loving that game. I'm on like the second major story arc / dungeon at the moment. And I like that it's still introducing new mechanics and new characters into the story and everything. I definitely recommend, everyone play this game again if you are into Japanese role-playing games, and even if you're just into anime, I think this is a great game to play. And I've also been playing Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age, and I will be actually reviewing this game. Hopefully the review will be up by the time the show is posted on the website and everything. But yeah, I've been playing that, and so far the remaster has been great. The visuals look really, really up to date and really sharp compared to how they originally looked on the PS2, I think. Yeah, PS2. And yeah, I'm loving the Gambit system because it's been a while since I played that game. And I remember that the Gambit system was one of the things that really made it stand out. Just the fact that you can give all these different characters their own logic and commands, and you can kind of just sit back and watch it in motion and feel proud that, they're following all your instructions and that, your plan is basically coming together, how you set everything up. It's like playing, well, not like playing chess, but it's when you spend all that time with strategizing and stuff, and then you see it pay off. There's just a feeling you get of triumph. But it's not easy. You do have to keep tweaking your gambits and stuff because there are different enemies with different strengths and weaknesses and stuff. I also like how the license board system is set up, and I think they made a lot of tweaks on that as well, because now you can give each character like a separate job class, and I don't believe they had as many options in the original game. So I think they made some adjustments there. I am going to fact check that before I publish my review, because, you know, I did write a whole section on that talking about how it's different. I just need to fact check a few things just to make sure I am correct in that regard. But yeah, I'm loving the game so far. It plays a lot like an MMO in the sense that, you know, you everything is live. You don't enter a battle mode like you do in earlier Final Fantasy games. You just walk up to the enemies and you can start attacking them, and your gambits just start working as soon as you approach an enemy. So yeah, very good game. I would say my major gripe with it is that compared to other Final Fantasy games, I feel like some of the characters are slightly bland. But I think the reason for that is that they're like blank canvases, and you know, you kind of have to mold them into what you want them to be in terms of their statistics and how their behaviors and stuff like that. But yeah, the story definitely isn't one of the best, but the game itself is fun to play. So yeah, look out for my review on that coming soon. And that's pretty much all I've been playing this week.
That's awesome. Yes, so definitely look forward to that review coming soon to the site. One thing I did want to ask you very quickly, Gary, before I talk about what I have been playing, I have to ask this burning question because I feel that there's a lot of people that also are going to ask this question, so I want to be the first person to ask it. That is, when are you going to actually put your money into buying an Overwatch team? Because I know you talk about Overwatch every week, you know, so I'm pretty sure that the Blizzard and Activision sending you some money. So when are you going to invest that money back into buying a team for London?
Oh, you know what? I really should do that. Like, I should actually try and do that. And I know they've been having like the World Cup and stuff, like where different countries face off against each other, and I've been watching some of those, and that's pretty entertaining. And surprisingly, I actually do kind of have a team at the moment that I kind of joined, like because I switch between servers. So sometimes I play on the American server, sometimes I play on Europe. And I was neglecting Europe for a long time, but I went back on Europe, and I actually started, you know, through playing competitive mode, I actually started to play with someone, and we grouped up together. And now we kind of have like our own team of people. Like we all have the same player icon and everything. Like, and we call ourselves Gold Watch. So yeah, I do kind of have my own little team going on at the moment. But yeah, that would be cool to have like an official, you know, team that makes money, gets sponsorships and all that stuff.
Damn, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, there's already a couple teams that were announced this week. That's why I asked that question. Hey, by the way, that was totally a joke. I don't want anybody to watch this video and be like, wait a minute, these guys getting millions of dollars. No, son, far from that. Far from that. What was you going to say, Max?
I was also going to say, did you see that there was a Tracer ultimate bomb that was thrown and it just didn't go off during one of the World Cup matches? And I don't remember if they lost the match because of it, but it like greatly changed the way the game played out because they threw like a really well-timed Tracer bomb and it just didn't blow up. Like it just fizzled out. It was some sort of glitch or something.
Wow, that's messed up. Like, right? Yeah, stuff like that can be a really big deal because I've seen a few ults that do that. Like I think May's ult, like the Blizzard, sometimes that doesn't always freeze people like it should. So that does happen here and there, and that does have a huge impact because if anyone who's played Overwatch knows, like every action counts in that game. So yeah, that could be a big deal.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so as for what I've been playing, I did play some more of WWE 2K17, and I had a rant on the WrestleCast yesterday about an experience I had on that game with the single-player mode. Career mode needs a lot of work. I'll just say that. I don't want to repeat too much of what I said last night. I will say if you're curious what I think about that, definitely listen to WrestleCast, in particular when we start talking about WWE 2K18. because I know that's coming to Switch. I have a lot of, as I've said on the last show, I think that right there, it guarantees there's going to be some issues because the devs have already said all of the features won't be coming over to the Switch version, but we'll see about that. But I did play some of that. But what I spent a lot of time doing yesterday is I actually went to an event called the Indie Mega Show. It was put on by the Indie Games Mega Booth team here in Atlanta, actually, at the Tabernacle. Now, if you've ever been to the Tabernacle, you know that this is normally a place where they have a lot of shows. The last time I went there, Nas was in concert with Lauryn Hill. That was pretty awesome. So to go to this venue this time around, it was very cool the way they set it up. They had about 5 different floors of things to do. And then, of course, they had the stage area where people actually were playing games on the stage. They had little competitions. Like I did see a couple of competitions for Dive Kick, which was a pretty fun game. It's a game that I recall seeing in the past and just never had opportunity to play it. But they did have that there. Adult Swim games, Adult Swim is actually, a lot of their work is here in Atlanta with Turner Studios. So they had their own little section as well. They had a couple of games. I did play this game called Duck Game. That is the name of the game. That game is pretty ridiculous. I will say that much. It's basically a team of 4 people. Well, it can be up to 4 players. You all are basically killing each other as ducks. You can use weapons or the environment to kill the other character, and it tallies up over time. Once it gets to whoever has the most kills wins the game. It's a pretty fun game. Very, very comical the way that they have some stuff in that game. But I did play that yesterday. That was pretty fun. They had a VR section as well, like a lot of little demos, not really any full-fledged games that were there. They had this one game that I'm sure that Dana would like very much. It was this game called Chocolate. And all it was a music video of cats pretty much jumping and dancing on screen. I'm like, what the hell is this? But, it was funny.
Why would I like that?
Well, say what?
Why would I like that?
Well, I know you have a cat, so I figured,
I have a cat doesn't mean I love cat videos. It sounds completely ridiculous. I would rather play that duck game.
Yeah,
DuckTales on awry.
Yeah, well, the duck game was fun, but the cat thing was funny because they had the music and all the other stuff, the backgrounds changing, the characters. It was pretty funny. It's really hard to describe the experience because it is VR, but that was interesting. But the one game that I have to say I enjoyed the most from playing yesterday, it was this game called Brawlhalla. I'm pretty sure you've heard of the game. It's made by Blue Mammoth Games, and this is pretty much like a Super Smash Bros. Type of game. But it has a really cool art style, different characters, so on and so forth. So I did get a chance to play that with the devs yesterday. I'm not afraid to admit that I did get my ass whooped in that matchup, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, that game's awesome. It just went free to play on Steam too, or like released out of beta, I believe. I think it was always free to play, but
yeah, you're right, because they actually had a PS4 version there at the show.
Oh, okay.
They did say it's not yet quite on PS4, but it is going to be coming there soon. So didn't really get a hard release date for that, but it is coming soon. It will definitely be there before the year is over. But yeah, the game was a lot of fun. That was a game that drew a lot of people to that. I did notice a lot of people enjoyed that more. And Dive Kick, they enjoyed Dive Kick too. There was a little competition I was watching people. That was very funny. It was very funny. But the event itself was just an awesome event. Here in Atlanta, they don't really have a lot of gaming events, really. And I don't really understand that because E3 used to be here in Atlanta. So I would hope that there are more events like this in the future. Also, I forgot to mention, pretty much the show started at 1 p.m. So from 1 to 5 p.m., nothing but games. They had a couple of demos on stage, and then you can also play stuff as well. But from 6 and up until 1 a.m., they actually had live performances also by different bands local to the area. So, and of course, they had food there. Of course, they had drink. So already I have to say, and this is no shade thrown at Microsoft, but already I have to say that this was definitely better than that Xbox press conference we went to at E3 back in June because of the fact that they just had more stuff there. You had the entertainment, but then you also had food, you had drinks, and it was an open bar too. So it was a fun time, really good time. So, you know, I know that they did say that they're going to try to have more of these events in different cities. This was the first time they've done it in Atlanta. So I'm hoping that they definitely have more. Maybe they'll have some in Chicago, you know, New York. So you guys will also get to go. And pretty much for anybody watching, you know, they may have more of these events coming soon. So I'll definitely keep you up to date on this once I hear about more events, when they're coming to what cities and what games they have. But awesome show. Definitely want to thank the team for allowing me to attend the show. And stay tuned for more thoughts on a lot of the things that I've played there later this week. But that pretty much concludes what we have been playing for this week. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into the topics, because there's quite a bit of topics to get into. First and foremost, Gary and I saw this topic on Friday, and I believe that Gary has something that he wanted to say on this topic. I also have something to say. You know, we will try not to make it too controversial, but I don't really know what Gary is going to say. But pretty much, we know that now Sony has finally announced that Gran Turismo Sport has a release date. It is going to be coming to PlayStation 4 on October 17th. And pretty much they announced that there's going to be a limited edition version for $70.
Of course.
Then there's also going to be a digital deluxe edition for $80. So, yes, October 17th in North America and October 18th in Europe. So the question that I would have, and I have to ask this question, is, now, this is a game that is coming out this year, correct? Why didn't we hear about any of this during the presentation that Sony had during their conference? That is a question that I wanted to ask. But Gary, go ahead and start off this particular, your particular issues with this particular news and whether or not you're excited for this particular game.
Yeah, I really do not understand why they didn't just announce that release date at the show, because that would have worked in their favor a lot. Because I mean, a lot of the big games that they showed, of course, are coming in 2018, and I mean, no one was complaining about that. Of course, I mean, that's cool and everything, because they've already kind of delivered this year. But just the fact that you have another huge game like that people have been waiting for, that is coming this year, would have been a big deal, and it would have added to the show. Now, what I really want to say and highlight about this whole Gran Turismo Sport thing is that I feel like Sony has no confidence in this game, because not only did we not see it at E3 this year, we didn't see it at E3 last year either. And this game, they've been talking about this game. This game was announced like 2 to 3 years ago or something, like maybe longer. And actually, wasn't it like kind of announced at the start of the PS4 generation? Like, I'm pretty sure they might have showed it like around that time. But yeah, it's been a while since we've been waiting for this game. And like, it would have been major to, you know, let everyone know that it's coming this year. The fact that they aren't and haven't been showing it at any of their, you know, major conferences, it has me questioning, you know, how good this game is actually going to be. Because I feel like Sony isn't confident in the game, so I'm not confident in the game either. I have seen it playable. I just haven't, you know, at the shows I've been to and seen it playable, I haven't really had much time to kind of, you know, give it a go or anything. But I haven't heard outstanding feedback from anyone either. Like, you know, anyone who's played it, they haven't, you know, been making a big fuss about it at all. So I'm worried that this isn't going to live up to any kind of expectations. And I certainly don't think it's going to be the same level of quality as a Forza game. So,
damn.
Yeah, this game is probably just going to come and go, to be honest with you.
Now, recall I said before we even started this conversation that we was not going to be controversial. That line was very controversial, because the Forza fans, they're going to be thumping their chest like, yes, you're right, Gary. And then the people who are Gran Turismo, they're going to be like, what is Gary talking about? So let me say something real quick, and then Max and Dana can give their thoughts. Let me just say right now that the Sony conference, I personally thought it was great. I think a lot of us that were there at the show watching the actual live performance, it was fantastic. I don't really have any complaints. I didn't have any complaints about that. Now, I know it was people complaining at home because of certain technical issues that they had with the stream or whatever, but I thought the show was great. But there's no doubt about it that, you know, games like Knack 2 and of course this game, I thought these games should have been in the actual show. Now, I know that Sony had a stream afterwards in which they had additional content that they showed at that point in time. That's fine. But for those that were there at the show, you know, we saw these games on the floor playable. So you have to question, well, why wasn't it at the actual conference itself? I didn't really understand that, because NAC is coming out in September. This game is coming out in October. I would have thought that, they would have been behind these games more so. Now, obviously, I don't know if they're going to have something at Gamescom. I don't even know if they've confirmed any of that information yet. So I would assume that if they are going to have something at Gamescom or Paris Week, they will probably show the stuff there, because they know that in Europe, I guess the racing stuff is a lot more popular than it is here. But I still was surprised that this game wasn't there. Now, with that said, it still can be a good game. I mean, but obviously, I guess I just need to see more, because I did see it on the floor playable. Was unable to actually play it because the lines to play that is ridiculous. But I don't know. And one thing I will say, again, just so that we make sure that all sides are covered, because a lot of people say, well, we don't talk bad about this company. We've said in the past, when there are other companies where they don't show stuff, you worry and wonder. I mean, we didn't Crackdown. That was another game. We were wondering, where the hell is that game at? Now, while Microsoft showed it at their conference, they did not show the game that I was expecting it to be. I thought that was going to be a major reveal for them, but they just threw it off to the side. And now we're hearing reports of the game is looking like it's going to be like it's not really going to live up to everybody's expectations. Well, I think that was obvious from what we saw at the conference. That's what it was, because it wasn't like a major presentation. It just had it was in there for a few minutes. You see Terry Crews going crazy on his video, and that was it. So but still they did show it, and they did say it's coming. So I guess you have to say, well, that's good. But yeah, Gran Turismo, NAC 2, I think we definitely should have saw something from that in the actual conference, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people, they only wanted to see the conference. They're not going to sit in front of a computer screen and watch 10 additional hours of PlayStation Live content on the actual PlayStation show floor. I mean, maybe there are some that do that, but I'm just saying the majority of people will watch the conference, which is only an hour and a half versus the 10 hours to watch all the other stuff. So I thought they should have had something in there for that, but it is what it is. So Max, you have any thoughts on this particular topic?
I was just going to throw in there that, because you guys were saying you haven't really heard anything about the game. And I'm the same way. I just remember that Charles and we went over to that sort of booth, and he was playing the Gran Turismo VR. But I don't think that has anything to do with the turbo one. I think that was just sort of a test thing they were doing at the time. I think that's what they said to him when he asked about it. But I know he said that was really, really fun, and it felt really, really good. So I have to hope that that sort of stuff is also carried over into the new Gran Turismo game that's coming out this year, or at least some of it is, really suck, because like Gary was saying, this is a very, very popular franchise, and people have been waiting for this for a long time. And, Forza's been killing it. So if, at least with Horizon 3, Forza 7, that reveal was hilarious to me, but even though the game will probably be good, but Gran Turismo kind of needs to step up, because as far as I know, there isn't really a racing exclusive on PlayStation. Otherwise, that could compete with it. Like, don't get me wrong, like Project Cars 2 and The Crew 2 both look great, but those are multi-platform games,
Yeah, and don't get me started on Driveclub.
Oh, wait, Driveclub? They're making another Driveclub?
No, they're not, but, people were trying to put that on a pedestal and try and compare it, to Forza, but I mean, Driveclub, it did some good things, like social gaming and stuff. Like I do feel like there was some good ideas there, but definitely not a flagship driving game.
Yep.
For Sony.
Well, let me just make a quick comment since Max brought it up. I don't think you guys have to worry about Gran Turismo being fantastic, because according to Namco Bandai, Project Cars 2 is going to blow everything out the water. That was what the guy told you in the presentation, right, Gary? At E3, he said, this is the game that is just going to be the game everybody's going to be talking about. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
those guys were going in, like, because me and JJ were in a presentation at Bandai, and the creators of Project Cars 2, like, they were talking a lot of smack about other driving games. Like, it was just hilarious to witness. But yeah, Project Cars 2 does look really good. And I'll even, say that it's probably better than Gran Turismo Sport as well. So yeah.
Yo, have you guys been looking at the Crew 2 though?
Yeah, I played the Crew 2 at E3 as well, and that game is fun. Like, that's what I love about racing games, because I'm not a huge simulation head, but I like racing games that are just fun, like where you can, like, just take a nice car, and exactly, like stuff like Midnight Club 2. Like, I loved that game. That's like one of my favorite driving games of all time. Like, where you can just take a fly looking car and just drive it around, and that, like, the Crew 2 is definitely fun, like, if you like the more arcadey style of driving.
Yeah. And, like, I'm pumped because it's doing, like, kind of the plane thing and the boat thing as well, and you could just kind of transition into them whenever. Like, I was reading about one person's they were in a plane flying over the water, and then they just transformed into a boat, like, instantly, and they fell all the way into the water, and they had all that speed, and they broke their speed record for, like, boating. And it's just like, you can do ridiculous stuff like that. It's going to be like GTA level stuff, kind of.
Yeah, you can do a lot of, like, crazy, insane stuff like that. Like, you can do that with cars as well. You can be, in a plane or a helicopter or something, and then just switch to a car and then drop right down to street level. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah, it seems awesome.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. We'll see. The Crew, that's next year, so we'll see how that fares in 2018. But yeah, it sounds great. Dana, did you have any thoughts on Gran Turismo Sport?
I will say this: whatever you do, no matter what, don't pre-order the game. So
why?
Once scarred, always scarred. You just don't know. They might end up pushing it back again. Nothing is truly guaranteed. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. We could be surprised and end up with a very good game. And it was just something that they had to take their time with. And they were just really bad at guesstimating when the game would be ready. So I'm going to be more positive and say that it could be very good.
Yeah, I think that's a totally fair argument. And the game, I'm pretty sure the game is going to turn out good. Hey, I'm pretty sure Knack 2 is going to be good. I think the only complaint was that, when Sony doesn't show this stuff, show it in a larger setting, because, as I said, everybody who saw the conference versus the people who actually saw the PlayStation coverage afterwards, I think in that case, you definitely, when you don't show this stuff, maybe it shows that maybe you're not really quite as confident in those particular games.
Well, not necessarily. It could just be that you want to truly surprise people. And the best thing to do that is to release the game a little, quietly, and have everyone lose their minds about it later on.
Yeah.
It'll gain more traction that way. Instead of having it being presented at E3 and then come time for October or whenever, everyone's disappointed because the game's not there.
Oh, well, don't worry.
Delays. There's no need for us to keep going through that, and people are already scarred behind that. So just take the quiet route.
Yes. And
know about the game, so it really is no need for them to re-present it.
Yeah, this is true. Let me just say real quick, Gary, then you could go next. What you said, yes, that take the quiet approach, and I hope you remember that statement, because when we get into Kingdom Hearts 3 later, like I said, 2018, I will believe it when I see it. But go ahead, Gary.
I just wanted to say, yeah, that statement is true for, it can be true for a lot of other games. The problem with Gran Turismo in particular is that they spend so long making these games that by the time it comes out, it's already dated, and there are already other car games out that are doing, like, way better things. So yeah, that's the common problem with Gran Turismo, and that's why they've been surpassed. And also, one more thing I wanted to say to people who were saying that Sony aren't really promoting it because it's only really popular in Europe. Like, okay, so why is Microsoft making such a huge deal about Forza. Like they had a whole segment of their E3 press conference dedicated to Forza Horizon. So you can't just say driving is only popular in Europe. Like it's definitely popular in America as well. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Very, very good points. Very good points. So, you know, we'll have to see where everything goes. Yeah, you know, the game could very well turn out to be great. I will say though, there's a lot of games coming out in October. There's a lot of games coming out for the rest of the year. So, I don't know if I will have the time to necessarily play this game or NAC 2, but they could very well turn out to be good. I'm pretty sure NAC 2 is going to be good anyway, because a lot of people played the first game. This is why the second game exists. So we'll see how it turns out.
Wait, but, Rich, didn't you say you're going to hold off from buying Wolfenstein so you can dedicate time to NAC 2?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. In no world, multiverse or other, will I ever make that decision where I say, Wolfenstein, nah, son, I'm going to pass on this and play Gran Turismo. Ain't no way in hell that will ever happen. No offense to Gran Turismo, but maybe I'll try it out at some point in time. But you know, I think you know, with all the games coming out this fall, there's a lot of people that they've probably already picked and chose which games they're going to prioritize and make time for over others that they're just going to have to pick up later. With me, Wolfenstein is definitely a game that will take priority over other stuff. So we'll see. But so any other thoughts before we move on to our next topic?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's move on to another topic that was something that was spoken about this week, and that was initially Microsoft saying that they will have a presence at Gamescom 2017. We know that they were at the show in the past, but this year they are going to have a huge presence with the Xbox One X because they definitely want people to try out the system, see what it has to offer. They did announce that they're going to have a live show, pretty much like they have, like Sony and Microsoft had a live show for E3 where people could watch on their consoles. So that is something, I guess. And they did announce that they are going to have a couple of games there. They didn't really allude to it being like any major surprises. There's going to be 27 playable games. My assumption is that it's going to be a lot of the games, the third-party games coming out this year, as well as the titles they have coming out this year. They're exclusives. So I believe Age of Empires Definitive Edition will be there, Sea of Thieves, Forza, so on and so forth. The question I had is, you know, so what do you guys think about this particular news? Are you actually looking forward to hearing and seeing more from Microsoft at Gamescom, or do you feel like it's not really going to be a big deal or a big show for them at all?
I don't know. I feel like for the most part, we know exactly what it's going to be like, you know, unless there's something drastic, like games aren't running like they said they would, which still won't even be that drastic in the first place, in my opinion. I feel like it's more the games that are going to get talked about. Like, for example, Cuphead will get talked about. I'm sure that'll be playable there. Maybe Crackdown. This article only says Forza, Age of Empires, and Sea of Thieves. And then it says there's going to be 27 other games. But I feel like those three right there, if those are like headlining, then that's kind of an issue, in my opinion. Like, I think Crackdown should be headlining. It may be there. It's just weird to me that they didn't mention that. You know what I mean? Like mentioning Age of Empires Definitive Edition over Crackdown and like Cuphead and stuff. That's weird to me. But they'll probably be there anyways. That might just be me being worried. But yeah, I think it'll go fine for them. I don't think it'll be anything super drastic.
Yeah, and one thing I will say right now is, Max, you know, Age of Empires Definitive Edition, that is one of the most anticipated games to come into Xbox One X. So it has to be there. Surely it has to be there.
And don't get me wrong, I love that game. But
yeah. No, but you make a very good point. You know, Crackdown, it's like I said before, you know, when we saw the presentation at E3, you know, I didn't really feel like I expected to have like a full presentation, hands-on, of them walking you through a certain mission in the game. None of that. We didn't get any of that. So that to me tells me everything about how they view the game. And then, of course, you know, I would think it would be even more important for them to have something on that, because Agents of Mayhem is out in August. And everybody that I know, they look at that game and say, yes, this is Saints Row once again, but this game looks fun. It looks like like I have a lot of fun with it. All I have heard of Crackdown 3 so far is this is not what I wanted in this particular game. Now, don't get it twisted. The game, I guess, plays good, but it doesn't look quite as good. I mean, I don't know what the issues are with the game itself, but yeah, the fact that it isn't mentioned as one of the headlining games is a problem. Hopefully, maybe that will change. But yeah, I think that you are right to be concerned about that. But we'll see. So, Gary, you have any thoughts?
I didn't even know this Age of Empires game was a thing, like the definitive edition or whatever. Like I didn't even know that was coming out. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool that it's getting some shine. It's getting some attention to, you know, the people who don't know much about the game. So that's always a good thing. I do agree with you guys about the games that are kind of missing from here. Like it is a little troubling. But it's, you know, I mean, it's cool that Microsoft are making an appearance at Gamescom. I wish I could be attending. I do, you know, want to get to Gamescom at some point. I hope, maybe next year. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, it's cool they're making an appearance, because it seems like in the last couple years or so, not all companies have really been making a huge splash at Gamescom. And, you know, it's just kind of seen as the secondary kind of show and stuff. I'm sure it's really good for the people who actually attend the show, though. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of cool stuff there. And I'm sure there's demos and stuff that went at E3, a lot of them. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be really good for the people going there. In terms of Microsoft specifically, they do have, you know, they have a console coming out within a few months. So they have to get selling that hardcore. So yeah, they have to make these appearances and they have to make a huge splash at shows like this. So they definitely have to take advantage and get people talking about the Xbox One X. So it's a good move overall for them, I think. It's just, you know, I just wish like there was a more of a focus on Crackdown being there as well. But hey, we'll see what happens.
I agree. We definitely see what happens. Dana, you have any thoughts?
While I want them to focus on, you know, the different games and have games that I actually care about, I think right now what they're doing is okay. The fact is that you need to concentrate on the Xbox One X, and you need to convince me as to why I should spend this much money for it. So for me, that's what I really want to see from this show. So yes, it kind of sucks that the partial list that was released is kind of underwhelming, but I hope that means that there's more focus on a console. So that's what I'm hoping for overall.
Good points, and I agree with that, because I don't think that they did a good job of selling. Well, they didn't sell me on the X at E3. That's for certain.
I viewed it as a joke. I fell out laughing and dying when you once said that price tag. I said no.
Well, I will say this: it's okay to view it as a joke, but if you are ever in the presence of Phil Spencer and you laugh when he tries to give you a presentation, don't do that. You'll hurt Phil's feelings. No, but
Phil needs to pay me the money to get the Xbox One then.
Well, hey, I'm pretty sure he can afford that. But you know, he can't do it for everybody. But he maybe do it for a few people.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, it is an opportunity for them to, as Gary said, well, as you all said, you know, they have a console coming out, so this is their opportunity to sell more people on it. So hopefully they are able to do that. I know that they kept saying that we have a lot more that we did not show because. And that's fine. They said it's too early. They didn't want to get into a situation of announcing something too early and then it gets canceled, like what happened with Scalebound. That's totally fine and understood. But yeah, I'm very curious though now to see what those games are, and maybe we'll find out within the next 3 years or so, because I don't know how soon any of that information is going to come. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Max.
I was just gonna say that's what I was gonna bring up was, do you guys think there will really be any surprises, or do you think it'll just be more of what we've already seen? But I had forgotten that he said that there's a lot more to come, but like, I don't know, how much faith do you guys have in that, in him saying that?
I think there will be other surprises. However, I don't really see any of those surprises at Gamescom.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they'll announce a couple other indie games that they now have deals to have on Xbox One. I know the Player Battlegrounds game. That game is a huge deal. That was a huge thing for them to get that game because that game is massively popular on PC. That's excellent. But maybe they will announce that. Outside of that, though, I'm not expecting any major, like a new IP. I'm not expecting any of that stuff because I don't think they're having a actual conference. Just like think of like a live broadcast you can watch online or on Xbox One.
Gotcha.
But that's just my opinion. Gary, you have any thoughts, or Dana?
Yeah, because of what you just said about, you know, it's not like a press conference, it's just like a live broadcast thing. I definitely feel like it's not going to be, we're not going to see any major announcements like Megaton or anything like that. It's just, you know, going to be pretty standard stuff that we've already been seeing, and probably a big focus on idea Xbox games and stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
so
I'm with that.
Yeah, I would also like that. Just focus on Microsoft games only and Microsoft exclusive games. That would be wonderful.
I agree. Well, we'll see how everything turns out. I guess you can't really expect too much, but I'm just curious to see what it is that these other games they didn't show. I already know that another Halo game is coming, another Gears of War game is coming, and while those franchises, people have always gotten tired of them, I still want to see what happens with Gears of War after playing 4, and I'm curious to see what happens with Halo after the debacle that was Halo 5. So we'll see about that at a later time, obviously. For now, we'll just have to wait and see what they have in store for all of us. But
I have a quick question as well.
Go ahead.
Do Microsoft usually announce anything at Video Game Awards? Because I'm trying to think when will be their next major opportunity to make some announcements about, you know, some of these games that Phil Spencer said they didn't get to announce yet because it's too early.
Oh. Very good question. Very, you know, I was thinking something along those lines. I don't recall them ever doing any of that stuff. But I could be wrong. I have to really go back and do my research to come to that conclusion. That would be very interesting if they did that. If they actually revealed something at that show, because it would just come out of left field. I don't think anyone would be expecting that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a good one, Gary. Yeah, because a lot of third-party stuff sometimes gets revealed. I have rarely seen this particular situation happen, though. But that's interesting. That's something to think about.
Yeah, because we know, you know, we have PSX at the end of the year, so it would be good to have like a mega Microsoft announcement too. And, you know, Video Game Awards and PSX are around the same time. So I think Microsoft should try and take advantage of Video Game Awards. But I think Max was going to say something as well.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing. Unless they do some sort of like their own conference, which I don't think they're going to do. Like PSX. I don't see that happening, but I don't know. You never know. Because you're right. It's weird. Like, unless they just announce it out of the blue, which they totally might do, which is fine, I guess. You know, like that happens all the time. But it is kind of weird. Unless they're just waiting for 2018 to really start doing this stuff. I don't know. Because maybe they'll have to see how the Xbox One X does. I really don't know. It's a weird situation that we've never really... I don't want to say we've never really been in before, but just sort of like these upgraded console stuff in general. Like, it's really weird to see how they're going to handle it. Because it's like, E3 already happened, you know?
Exactly. And it kind of feels like, okay, so once Xbox One X comes out and Crackdown is out, what's next? Like, you know, what's the next big thing to look forward to?
Sea of Thieves.
That game, and I'm still not sold on anything that I saw. I see people have been praising this game, the ones that have had a chance to play it. I just don't see it, man. And listen, I want Rare to be successful, but I don't really know anything about that game. I don't. It's not like a game where I'm looking like, oh, I can't wait to play it. No, I'm like, what else is Microsoft working on? That's when I see that game. That's instantly what I think of. What else are they working on outside of this? State of Decay 2 also, you know, it looks very similar to the last game.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it will be a little bit different with better graphics because it's the more powerful system. But I like I said, you know, I definitely think Microsoft has a lot of other things that they are going to have to reveal at some point because, yeah.
Better hope so.
They have to. They have to. You know, and this is not really just to compete with PlayStation because I feel as though PlayStation has already won this generation. This is not about that, but this is for the fact that you want to keep fans actually invested in the Xbox brand. You have to keep releasing games that are specific to the console. So we'll see what happens. But any final thoughts before we move in? I don't know if Dana, you had anything you wanted to add, or if you're good.
I'm good.
Okay, you're good. Thumbs up. All right, so let's move on to the next topic. So of course we already know that Destiny 2 beta is going to be starting next week. I know some of us will be playing. Well, all of us will be playing at some point, you know. But I guess we wanted to ask a quick question. This is actually a section that is about Destiny twice. But the first question I wanted to ask about Destiny 2 is, are any of you looking forward to the beta based on what we have seen already from the game? Because I know some of us saw stuff at E3. Or do you just don't care about Destiny and you will spend your time on another game instead? So, Max, I'm going to go to you first because I know you and Gary are the big, huge Destiny fans here. So, but I'm gonna let you go first and let me know whether or not you're looking forward to Destiny 2.
In terms of the beta, like I'll probably check it out a little bit, but I played the game at E3 and it was exactly what we all expect it to be. It's the same game, and I don't know, I'm just ready to play the full release. I don't really think I need the beta. Like I'll definitely check it out probably for a match or two, like I said, but I already know exactly what I'm getting, and if I just don't really need to. I'll just wait until my progress will be saved and everything with the actual game. You know, I have too much else to play right now to worry too much about it. But yeah, it's cool that it's happening. It's just kind of a shame that it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah. So how about you, Gary?
Yeah, while I am somewhat a fan of Destiny, like I echo Max, like I'm not super pumped for this beta because I am playing other stuff. And, the game is coming out in almost a month. Like, it's like a month and change right now until it comes out, in September. So I'm willing to wait, and I have a huge backlog of things I want to play before that game specifically comes out. So, I'm not, that pumped to play the beta itself, because, the game is so close. And, I have a bunch of games I'm playing already. But I will be watching to see what the reactions and responses are of people who are playing the beta. And, I'll be watching people stream it and stuff like that too, just to see what the general consensus is. And I will say this, the beta for the first game, because I remember there was a beta for the first Destiny, and that was what really got me into the game and got me excited for the actual game itself. So I do feel like these betas are a good thing, and they can be a good indicator of whether you're actually going to enjoy the game. So I do feel like it is a big deal to some people, but me personally, I'm not that fazed by it because, I already have tons of things to play anyway. But yeah, that's just where I am with it.
I agree with that 100%. Actually, I think that's a great way to put it. That the beta is still important, and like you, the beta for the first game had me hooked. I played the shit out of that, and I am also very interested. I'm more interested to see other people's opinions on it than I am to actually check out the beta. I'm very interested to see how other people feel about it. That's a great point.
Exactly, and I want to shout out Tony Polanco, who was in the chat earlier, because he said he's going to be streaming it. So I will be looking out for that stream in particular.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'll just say this real quick, and then I'll let Dana chime in. Yeah, when we saw the first initial reveal of Destiny 2, when they had that event a little while back, I thought, well, the game, it looks like the same game. It has maybe more cinematics. It's a lot more different in those regards, but it still feels like it's the same experience. So obviously, after seeing some of the stuff at E3, the PvP stuff, yeah, I mean, it all looks the same. Maybe it's a little bit crisper. Maybe some of the text is a little crisper. The graphics are just just a slight more polished to them, I guess you could say. But it all looks the same to me so far. With that said, I am going to try the beta out just to see how it actually is, just so I can get a perspective. I do understand I have a hell of a lot more games that I have to play. I still haven't played Persona. Still haven't found the time to play Horizon yet. And I need to make time to play these games. But in the meantime, the beta, I'm pretty sure I can maybe try out maybe a match or two and see how it is. But to me, it looks the same. Probably will be the same. And those that are Destiny fans, they will probably enjoy that since they love the first game so much. But when it comes to the grinding and all this other stuff, that was the one thing about Destiny that I got very annoyed about. So I hope that this time around, there are some changes to the way they actually do that stuff. But, we just have to see how it all turns out in the end.
Oh, I bet it'll be very grindy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's still going to be there to some degree because obviously, a lot of people, they like that aspect about it. But I hope they take into account that there's also an audience that did not like all the grinding. Yeah. I did see that they said that, well, yeah, the game is going to have a ton of story content now. This sounds great. All of it sounds great. But until I see the final products, I'm not convinced yet. So we have to see how all that turns out. But I definitely will try the beta at the very least, and just to get a opening into how everything is and see how that goes, and then make a decision from there. But I will say it's a smart decision for Activision to have the beta, because 9 times out of 10, when you have a beta for your game, that will definitely help to convince people whether or not they actually want to purchase the game. Because I know they had that whole thing where as soon as they announced Destiny, before they even had the reveal event, right as soon as they announced it, they already had pre-orders all over the internet. I'm like, well, shit, we ain't seen nothing but a cinematic trailer. So what is this? So this is good to have the beta so people can make their decisions as to whether or not this is something that they want to invest more time into. So I do applaud them for that without question. So we'll see. And Dana, you have any thoughts on Destiny 2 beta? Are you planning to check it out, or are you not interested?
I have so many other things that just take priority over that game, and I will have to agree that it looks just like the original. The problem is that I don't like betas because there's a whole bunch of technical issues that they have to hammer out, and already it's been reported that there are some issues that's they have to go through. I am the type of person who played Destiny and I was really passionate about it for like a good month, and then somehow it just fell at the wayside. So for me, I'm not necessarily knocking the game, but I'm not right there, 100% looking forward to the beta. I'll play it when I play it. I'll get around to it, but it's not something that I'm freaking out over and I have to play right away.
Definitely.
Makes sense. I agree with that. And I did see some comments in the chat. They're like, "Oh my God, you still haven't played Horizon?" Yeah, I know, man. I've been doing a horrible job. I got to catch up, man. This is serious. This is life altering decisions that have to be made for me to play these games. But yeah, Horizon, Persona 5, I definitely will play both of those games before we actually get into the end of the year game of the year discussions, because I feel like both of those games will be in that discussion. But yeah. I'll make a promise to those that have been asking. Yes, I will definitely try that out, but know that there will be a game or two that does get sacrificed for me to make time for those games. So, yeah, that could be anything. I don't know what that game is, but Wolfenstein, no. I got to play Wolfenstein 2. That's a guarantee. Mm-hmm. Destiny 2, hey, that might be the game that I skip out on. You never know. We'll see what happens. But
it's definitely hard to prioritize these games, like, because I made fun of you in the chat, of course, but I suffer from this too, because I haven't even played Watch Dogs 2. Like, that was a game I really wanted to play. I haven't played Mafia 3. you know, there's so many games that I just didn't get around to playing because, you know, obviously we don't have time. You know, we're running the site, we're working as well. And, you know, we don't always have time to play what we want, unfortunately. I haven't, you know, I've only put in like 3 hours or so of Horizon. And that is a game I definitely want to get back to and complete before Destiny. But, you know, I'm playing Persona, so who knows whether I'm going to get to that. And then, you know, you have the Yakuza games. Like, I want to play Yakuza 0. And of course, there's another Yakuza coming out. Like, so it's just so many games, man. It's too many. It's too much.
Yeah, I mean, watching Tony stream Yakuza has been like, I really need to play that game now.
Yeah, listen, this is a great, as many have already said, this is a great problem to have. There's a lot of great games out there, but making the time to play them. You know, if you have a job, you have, you know, you're an older, responsible gentleman. And by the way, we're not ridiculously old. I just want to make that clear when I said older. I'm not talking about I'm in my 50s and nothing like that. No, just that you have to prioritize. You have responsibilities and you have to make responsible decisions. But with that said, I do feel as though if there's a game that you really, really want to play, you will make the time to play that game. It just means there's another game that, well, this has to wait until later. So, like I said, Wolfenstein 2 comes out. There will not be any second guessing that. I will be playing that the day it comes out. That I can guarantee that. But everything else, yeah, I will make sure that I do play it because these are games that everybody's talking about. You know, game of the year. You know, big time blockbusters that will be in the discussion for game of the year. So I definitely have to make time to play them. But we'll see what happens because, like I said, there are some games that will get passed over. Could it be Destiny 2? I don't know. Could it be Gran Turismo? Yeah, that may get passed over for a little while, but we'll see. We'll see. But any final thoughts on this topic? Well, actually, hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta stop myself for a second. So to stay with Destiny 2, a very quick question to ask. Have y'all seen the Destiny 2 PlayStation 4 Pro bundle? This is the Crystal White bundle. Are any of you interested in actually getting that bundle after seeing it, or are you just not interested at all?
Now, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You go first, man.
I was just gonna say, like, bundles just never really interest me that much. Like, they're cool, but like,
Yeah, for the most part, they never really interest me. But I can't deny that when I saw it and that, you know, saw that it was a PS4 Pro, the thought did cross my mind a little bit. Like, you know, oh, maybe I should get a PS4 Pro. Maybe it's time. But, you know, after that, like, I got over it really quickly, and I was like, nah, forget that. Like, I can buy a graphics card, you know, instead.
That impulse decision.
Exactly, yeah. But I did see Miguel on Twitter. He was saying that he just bought the you know, the previous Destiny bundle that came out, the white PS4, and now this one is announced, and like, you know, I guess he's kind of considering buying that as well. But yeah, it's pretty crazy that, you know, that's coming out. I'm sure that's going to persuade a lot of people to get it as well. That's definitely smart marketing by Sony, I think.
I must admit that they got me with that, because when I saw that, I was like, you know, I know they just had the gold PlayStation 4s that came out right before E3, and I know that item is now no longer in stock anywhere. If you try to find it online, maybe there might be some places like maybe a Sam's Club or a Walmart or something that you can find it. But when that came out, I thought to myself, so what is going to be another color change for the PS4 Pro? So the Destiny bundle makes a lot of sense. It definitely piqued my attention. Will I actually go out and get that though? I heavily doubt it, because I feel like I really, really have to love Destiny 2 and want to play that to buy that bundle, because that is essentially the game that you will be getting with it. Now, obviously, there's a whole bunch of other games that are coming out this year that I'm going to want to play on PlayStation 4. But you know, they got me with it to look good. Oh yeah, this is nice, but ultimately, I don't really think that I would invest in that. But I will say it's going to be great for those that actually don't have a PlayStation 4 for whatever reason. If somebody doesn't have a PlayStation 4, and I would want to have a discussion with that person as to why they do not have a PlayStation 4 if I ever meet them, But that is great for someone who wants a PlayStation 4. Great, and they're a huge Destiny fan. That's a great bundle for them to pick up. I'm pretty sure there will be a bundle for Star Wars because we know that they also have the marketing deal for that game, Battlefront. So I'm pretty sure there will be a PlayStation bundle for that game also in the future, as well as Call of Duty, because we got that orange and black system a while back that was ridiculously ugly. You know what system I'm talking about, Gary. So there definitely will be more consoles coming out later this year for these particular games, but for Destiny in particular, I feel like you really, really have to either love Destiny or want a white PS4 Pro. And if you're in neither one of those camps, then makes no sense to get the bundle. But just my opinion.
Yeah.
So, Dana, you have any thoughts on this bundle? Or
I don't love Destiny that much, so no. And plus, I don't like that color. Everything gets on white. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it, and I don't love Destiny like to go that crazy for it. And the beauty is, when you're broke, you have better priorities.
That's definitely a thumbs down. You about to say something, Gary?
I was asking if she has a PS4 Pro already, or if she just has normal PS4.
No, not the Pro.
Oh well, yeah. I think you should get that bundle so we can play Destiny together.
I can't.
Let me stop you right there, Gary. We already know that you're getting Destiny on PC, so why would you tell her to get that PlayStation 4 Pro bundle?
He just wants me to throw away money. So horrible.
I'm just trying to put the peer pressure on her,
The peer pressure? No. Not for Destiny.
Yeah, but again, those are the Destiny fans or PlayStation 4 fans. Definitely something that you can consider picking up. I'm not going to tell no one to not buy it, but because I said if you don't have a PlayStation 4, there's a lot of options you have now as far as getting a PlayStation 4. If you want the Pro, then if you want to get a Pro, I would just say just wait till this bundle comes out and get that Pro instead. But ultimately, that choice is up to the consumer. These are just my suggestions, but it is what it is. But I think that's about it for Destiny talk. Unless you guys have anything else you want to say about Destiny.
I think we went pretty far into this one.
Oh yeah, I think so also. So no more. Hey, actually, we provided more explanation for Destiny than we ever got with the story in the first game. So you all should give yourself a round of applause. Yes, that's excellent. Absolutely. So let's move on to the next topic. And Dana, this topic is something that I definitely want you to speak a lot on. Well, of course, D23 took place. I don't know if D23 is still going on. You may have to confirm that information.
Still announcing.
Okay, so stuff is still being announced.
Yes.
So as far as D23 is concerned, there were some of us that saw it. I must confess that I have not been watching D23. I did catch some stuff on Twitter, but of course, Dana has seen a couple of streams as well as Max and Gary. So why don't you feel free to fill us in on your thoughts on D23? What highlights did you think were great from the show? And in terms of the games, which games, what new information did we find about certain games?
Okay, I'm going to start off with Spider-Man for PS4. Basically, what we got was a look. It was more of a behind-the-scenes look of how they created everything, and they talked more about what we could expect in the world of Spider-Man. So when it started, we got a look of Peter Parker's apartment in Queens. It's very realistic, and they kept implying that everything is going to be interactive. You can go in and out of the apartment. The web slinging is improved, so a lot of fans have been complaining about that. They said now when you are able to swing, you'll have stronger velocity, and it'll have more of an impact on the game and the gameplay. They also talked about that we're going to have a little bit more insight into Peter Parker. He's now 23. He's no longer a teenager. He's a 23-year-old living in Queens, and it's going to be a little bit about Peter. They did not, what I really wanted was if we're going to get anything on Miles. We got nothing on Miles. We don't know if he's a playable character. We don't know if he's just standing in the distance, taking a picture. We don't know anything about him. So that was a bit of a letdown. But the game so far looks very beautiful. The graphics are much updated. They talked about how they worked very hard to update everything, how it has a much cleaner look, how the game is going to flow more and it has a smoother gameplay. So I'm looking forward to that very much so. Then, of course, there is the big Kingdom Hearts trailer that they announced along with the Hercules world, which looked very beautiful. A lot of different fights and action sequences went on with that, along with the with the Toy Story world. We're going to have an entirely separate story. So it's not connected to the movies at all. They worked on a brand new narrative, and they're going to be working with the Kingdom Hearts team, and they're going to go out there and they're going to go battle and look for this mysterious box. So that is what we got some news on. They also released a ton of very beautiful screenshots. And so that's all available on the Koalition website as well. And they talked about how they're going to release more worlds, but we're not going to know right now what everything is. But they did tease us with, we can expect some more. So my guess is I don't have any guess. They could just throw anything in there. I'm very much looking forward to the game. And unlike you, I am actually rooting for the October release date. So that should be fun.
You said October release date. Wait, for which game?
I'm sorry. The 2018 release date.
Well, I think you were right when you said October, as in. No. You was right when you said October, as in October 2019 is when we will get Kingdom Hearts 3. I think that was a good guess. That's excellent. Yes.
No.
So, well, you know what? We'll see. One thing I want to say real quick. You mentioned Spider-Man. So Spider-Man is a lot older. So I will say this. I'm very glad to hear this because I do not want to see Uncle Ben get killed again. So I'm glad they decided to, make him a lot older in this game.
I don't think Uncle Ben is even a focus.
Well, that's good. That's good. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be anymore. We don't need to see him get killed over and over again, especially in the video game fashion. So that's good. But Spider-Man sounds great. Did you guys have any other thoughts as far as D23, as far as what you've seen or heard about the show?
They also spilled a little knowledge on the Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, they stated, and I'm very excited about this because I have no friends. Single player mode, yay! And you can play as John Boyega. So that's exciting.
I thought they already had the single player with the female character.
Well, they do.
So is this is something else then?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. And I'm glad that he also is in the game because I know he was complaining. Well, maybe he just made a joke. I don't know if it was really a complaint.
No, he went hard. He marketed it really hard. I don't know if it was all like a stunt, like they told him to go do that so everyone would get all riled up. But he went hard for it.
Okay. All right. That's good. Glad that the results have paid off. Definitely plan on checking that out. So Gary and Max, did you have anything you wanted to say about D23, including the games that Dana mentioned, or any other things that you may have noticed from the show?
With regards to the Spider-Man and Peter Parker being, late 20s, that definitely makes sense with having Miles Morales, because we know that Miles is supposed to be younger than Peter Parker. So that definitely makes a lot of sense with that. I'm still interested to see how they're going to handle that whole Miles Morales situation with him being in the game as well. But yeah, that's interesting for sure. And of course, the major news with regards to gaming that came out of D23, Kingdom Hearts. What's interesting is because Of course, me and JJ went to the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra during E3, and Nomura actually came out on stage, who's the director, and he said there would be big news at D23. We didn't know it was going to be this major. We didn't know we was going to get a release window and a look at a new world that's going to be in the game. And the Toy Story world looks incredible. I like the interaction between Sora and all the Toy Story characters, and the action in the game looks phenomenal. Like the animation and everything, it looks amazing. And this is coming from someone who hasn't even beaten a Kingdom Hearts game before. Like, I played some of the first game. I haven't beaten any of the games before, but that looks phenomenal. And I now definitely want to make sure I get that the remastered collection that just came out, the remix. And I want to definitely try and beat those first two games before next year, when the game comes out. And I know there's still a cloud of doubt over whether the game actually will come out in 2018. I just hope that they stick to their guns, because them announcing a release window is it's a big deal. So for them to go back on that now would be like, it would be a huge blow, like to the fans. So I hope they stick to that and it actually comes out in 2018. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what Max has to say as well, because I know he's a big Kingdom Hearts fan.
What I was going to say is that the reason I'm worried about the release window was because what was it, when they announced the game? Was it last year's E3? Like, it was announced before that, but when they showed like all the footage and everything, it was last year's E3, correct? If I'm not mistaken. And they said they had like nothing. They had like no idea what was coming, this and that, like aside from like before 2020. And the fact that they suddenly are like, oh, it's coming like this soon. That's, I guess, what worried me and what made me think like, oh, it's probably going to get delayed. But then, Gary, when you said that Nomura came out and said that they have big news to announce at D23, that makes me a bit more confident in the date, because that makes me think like, if he knew that then, like they are that confident in the game then, because they, like you said, they wouldn't make this announcement lightly. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't something they would just kind of do. To be fair, if it does get delayed, it's nothing we aren't used to. We'll be able to deal with it, Kingdom Hearts fans. But it's still a bit unbelievable to me. Like, I think I'm still processing it, because I am just so excited for this game, as are many people. And just the thought of it actually like being here is just, this soon, is just pretty ridiculous to me. Like, it's pretty hard to believe. But it's awesome. Like, I'm very happy. And of course, I hope to God that it does come by then. But we'll have to wait and see. And I agree that the Toy Story world looks absolutely gorgeous. Just the entire game just looks absolutely gorgeous. Like, seeing it in HD with like the 2.8 and 1.8 and all that other randomly named stuff is cool. Don't get me wrong. But it's still like, it's only like upscaled stuff. Like, you can only do so much with it. But seeing this just is gorgeous. And I hope that it doesn't get downscaled at all from the footage we've seen, which I don't think it will, to be honest. But it's just so exciting to see Kingdom Hearts here again and prevalent. And the fact that people are still excited about it to this day, like, just shows like how strong the first two games really were, and just how unique and just how dedicated the fan base really is. Because like, yeah, we still had like games in between. We've had all the Game Boy games and the 3DS game, and a lot of which were excellent games. But there has been nothing like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. There has been nothing. Like, I've played all of the side games and everything. The closest thing to it was the 3DS one, but it was still a pretty stripped down version of what we expect and of what we've always loved about the Kingdom Hearts games. So just seeing it here is just, it's amazing. And weirdly, there's been nothing on multiplayer, at least not that I know of, which is interesting in today's day and age. I think I'd be pretty happy if there was just no multiplayer at all. I think that'd be very cool.
Yeah, I don't think there should be.
Yeah.
And I think there was mention of there possibly being other characters that you can control. What was the name of that character that appeared in the second game for a little while again?
Roxas.
Yeah, that's the one. Do you think maybe he'll be in this game?
What? The story's so convoluted now. I forgot what happened to him. I need to catch up on the story. It's like I can't even say for sure. But you definitely you play as other characters like in the games. Like that's definitely not like a new thing. Just Sora is the one you play as most, which is always great. But I think to date on my lore, like I used to be, but like I just haven't. I need to rewatch like the summary videos. But from what I know, yes, Roxas is still around, so he will probably be playable because he's very important. Like I don't want to spoil it, but he's very, very important, like to the story and especially Sora. Like he's very, very essential. So I'm sure that he's there. I'm sure, definitely, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And I also want to say that there was another game that was announced. It's a new Marvel VR game for the Oculus Rift. It's called Marvel Powers United VR. Basically, what it is, it's a co-op battle with up to 3 people, and it'll have more than a dozen playable characters. So far, they announced Rocket Raccoon, Hulk, and Captain Marvel. It's not coming out until around 2018, and that anyone who's going to San Diego Comic-Con will be able to play it. And it looks crazy. It's really hard to describe, most like any other VR game, but it's a lot of different battles and you're fighting everyone and everything's in VR. So I just expect a lot of destruction in your home. But so far, it was very interesting. It was like literally a 1-minute clip, even maybe less than that they showed. So it's something to look forward to at San Diego.
Sounds good. Yeah. So I think you could say pretty much that D23 is sound like it was a great show. A lot of surprises, and of course the live action film stuff also. Yeah, it sounded like it was a great show. Any other thoughts to say before we move on to the final topic for today?
No, I just think that we're gonna probably get more game coverage a little bit at San Diego, more than what I expected. And D23 was very, very great as well, and it covered a lot more than what I expected. So, okay, it was a good week so far.
I agree. Very good week. Okay, so we're going to move on to our main topic for today. Now, I want to preface this, as I've already said on this show, there's quite a bit of games that I haven't played yet. We still have a ton of games coming out the second half of this year that are also looking to be very good as well. But wanted to have a discussion pretty much about 2018. And the fact that we've already heard a couple of games that are coming out in 2018. Now, as you guys already mentioned, Kingdom Hearts 3 is one of those games that's coming out in 2018. We also found out earlier this week that Ni no Kuni 2 is also now been pushed to January in 2018. So the list goes on for the number of games coming out: Spider-Man, God of War, and of course Red Dead Redemption 2, which should be out in the springtime. So wanted to have a discussion and basically ask you guys if you think that 2018 will be an even bigger year for video game releases than this year. Now obviously, we still haven't played the games coming up in the second half of the year. We've gotten our hands on time with some of them, but we haven't played all of those games yet. But I just wanted to ask you right now, based on what we know about 2018, do you all think that 2018 is going to be an even bigger year for video games? And Gary, how about you go first with your thoughts?
Absolutely. Like, because this year it's been a big deal, and this is the year that I feel like this generation really delivered, like with the games. Because previous years, I was a bit salty, like, because it felt like we hadn't had many experiences, that made this new generation worth it yet. But this year, like, I am satisfied. I'm a satisfied gamer. Like, I'm oversatisfied this year. So, yeah, and we're all kind of still catching up on games that came out in Q1 2017. Next year is going to be it's going to be a lot worse. And I think we'll be catching up on 2018 games in 2019. Like, it's going to be that bad, I think, because there's so many heavy hitters. I mean, Kingdom Hearts, Red Dead Redemption, God of War, Monster Hunter, Days Gone, Detroit, Ni no Kuni. Like, there's so many, like, Spider-Man. Like, the list goes on. There's so many heavy hitters coming next year. So it's going to get crazy, and I don't know how I'm going to find the time to play everything. I'm going to have to make some serious adjustments to my life, I think, to be able to play all these games. But yeah, man, that lineup for next year. I will say, though, I do expect some things to be pushed back or delayed. I definitely feel like there's going to be some games that suffer from that. We've already talked about the possibility of Kingdom Hearts being delayed, but I feel like there will be some games that are delayed. And earlier, somebody made mention in the chat that Last of Us 2 is coming next year. Now, is that confirmed? Is that, like, do we have a release window for that?
They never set a release window for any of that information. So that is to be determined. I mean, I think PSX is definitely going to be interesting this year, because I feel like a lot of stuff is going to happen at PSX. A lot of stuff is going to be said. I actually think we're also going to get our very first look at gameplay for Death Stranding at PSX, since Death Stranding was not at the PlayStation conference at all. I will not be surprised if that's what happens, but 2018, we'll see. I don't think Last of Us 2 is coming out in 2018. No, if that comes out in 2018, man, that would be crazy. It's too much. It's overkill, because Days Gone, like you said, Days Gone, Spider-Man, Detroit Become Human, and God of War. That's already 4 games that we know for sure are coming out next year. So if they said Last of Us 2, I don't think, man. I have to say that might be something that is 2019, but we'll see, because I don't know how far along they are with the game to really make that decision.
Yep. And don't forget, we also have games that were literally like just announced, like Anthem, that's coming as well. And I'm sure there's games that we don't even know are coming in 2018, that are still to be announced as well. So it's going to be pretty stacked. And God help me if Destiny 2 is actually good, because the first Destiny, I played that for damn near a whole year. So if this Destiny is that good, like, it's going to be so hard to find time to play everything, because I don't want to stop playing Overwatch either. So yeah, I'm scared, to be honest with you.
Wait a second, Gary. Wait a second. Now, you definitely going to have to make some sacrifices now. Overwatch, man. Yeah, you definitely going to have to sacrifice something. If it gets to Overwatch, though, oh man, that'll be serious. That may be life changing for many reasons, if that's the case.
Yeah, a lot of crucial decisions are gonna have to be made, like, because it's gonna be insane, for sure.
Absolutely.
What would you guys think?
Yeah, Max. How about you share your thoughts?
When the topic was first brought up, I was debating it. I was considering it, but once Gary really started listing out all the games and everything, I think what had me questioning it was that I think 2017, and this could change, but I think 2017 is going to be seen as having more just like all around insane releases. Because, like, as we've said, there are just so many games coming out. But I think 2018 is just going to be the caliber. It may not have as many releases. It's still going to have a shit ton. But those releases will just be much stronger, even though this year already killed it. But we're getting games like Kingdom Hearts 3, which is going to be massive, assuming it's good, of course. If Last of Us 2 comes out, Spider-Man is going to be insane. We're just going to be getting games of just like the highest caliber of this generation, probably what are going to be seen as the greatest games of this generation. Not that the games that, like, Persona 5 level. Like, I'd argue Persona 5 was the biggest release of this year. And I could say that 2018 will have games that it'll be hard to argue that. Whereas this year, I think that that's going to be a pretty solid, pretty agreed on assumption. Not even that it's the best game of the year, even though I think that's what a lot of people are saying as well. But in terms of just like sheer, like, just presentation and quality and just people talking about it, it seems to be this year. I think next year is going to be a much harder debate. in terms of games of that caliber. Even though this year alone has had just incredible releases all around.
Very good points. Yes, absolutely. How about you, Dana? You have any thoughts?
If everything pans out and games are released on their actual date that was announced, I would just like to say that I will be on the next upcoming episode in 2018 of Hoarders.
Wow.
I am very much looking forward to Spider-Man, the Detroit Become Human, although I strongly feel in my soul that game will get pushed back. I see it being pushed back at least 8 months. But if everything pans out, I will have to agree and say that this is going to be in this year's of games. And as Max previously said, we're going to get higher quality games. And we're going to get games that will really blow away the competition. So I'm looking forward to that. My just one wish is that everything pans out. On a technical aspect, there's no glitches, there's no problems, that Detroit Become Human doesn't end up like Watch Dogs and everyone's just miserable. Everything. So that's my hope and my prayer.
That would be interesting. You said it. You hope it doesn't become like Watch Dogs. Well, hey, I hope. Nah, man. I hope not. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Don't even say it could. Don't put that negativity out there.
Oh no. But see, that's but I will say, you said that there could be some games that will get delayed. I'm not going to put the negativity out there about Detroit Become Human because I'm actually looking forward to the game. But I am going to reiterate what I said earlier: is that yes, games could be delayed, and I will not be surprised if Kingdom Hearts 3 is on that list.
I don't see Kingdom Hearts. I think because they screwed up for the past 10 years, they kept telling us we're going to get a game, we might actually be surprised.
We could be surprised
on time. We could be surprised, and you know, we're getting a lot of great games like God of War. That was originally the very first game that I bought a PS4, not PS4. The place I forgot which. When it first came out, I played it at someone's house, and then I bought that console solely because of that game. And every time I have to get a new PS4 just so I can play God of War. So for 4, that right there, that's like my yearly, my every 2 years or so, my bucket list game. I love those games. So I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens. I just would like to send a message to Square Enix and say if I don't see Kingdom Hearts in the store and actually able to be purchased by December 31st, 2018, then I will come back on this podcast and say, I told y'all so. I told y'all that game wasn't coming out in 2018. So we'll see. I would love to be wrong, but we'll see what happens. But yes. Any other thoughts on this topic or anything else before we wrap up today's show?
I think I'm good.
I'm good. I just want to make sure I finish all my 2017 backlog. So I'm going to get working on that tonight.
Good luck.
Good luck indeed. I have to do the same, Gary. Good luck indeed.
Yeah. Best of luck to everyone. I think everyone has just a massive backlog. You know, we always joke about it, and we always have joked about it, but this year is just something else.
Yeah, it would be totally different if my only job was to just play video games and write about stuff on the site. Then yeah, I would play everything. But listen, this is the real world here, ladies and gentlemen. So you have to juggle. I feel like I'm a clown. I have to juggle so many balls. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Hey, maybe 2018 will be the year that we can start doing that, and then we'll kill it.
I would love that. That'll be awesome. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Fantastic. We'll see.
That's the dream.
That is the dream, indeed.
It's the dream. And it's achievable. It is.
Yes, absolutely. So we thank you all for listening to this week's show. Thank everybody that was in the chat, as well as everybody that has been supporting us on Patreon. I did want to announce that we actually are going to be opening up another voting giveaway opportunity tomorrow at precisely 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be running a contest where you will be able to vote on the game that we give away in August. There's a lot of games on there to choose from, including Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, of course, Mario plus Rabbids Battle Kingdom, and of course, the list goes on. It's about 6 games, so a lot of the games are major releases coming out next month. So definitely vote, because this is why I wanted to make it known on this particular show. Yes, definitely vote, because that will be ending next Monday. So you guys have a whole week and the weekend to vote. So definitely vote on that, and then we will announce the game we're going to give away the following Tuesday. So definitely look for that tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. on the website, Eastern Standard Time. It will be there. But as far as shout-outs go, you guys have any shout-outs that you would like to give? And Max, how about you go first?
Yeah, as always, thanks everyone for participating in the chat. Always a good time talking with you guys. It was a bit quieter today, which is fine. I feel like we kind of had a slow week in news for the most part, aside from the D23 stuff. I feel like there wasn't a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, so it's totally understandable. But as always, looking forward to seeing you guys next week and seeing what else we can talk about. And thank you to all the patrons, of course, for participating in the Patreon, and just that really helps us. It's one of the greatest things, and hopefully that one day we can just keep providing you with more and more content and just making it feel like it's worth it for you guys. As always, it's just great to see, and we're really appreciative of it.
Absolutely. How about you, Dana? Any shout outs that you would like to give?
Shout out to everyone who's listening and been participating, and who goes on the site and participates and looks and reads. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. I'd like to give a shout out again to, everybody who continues to show us support. As I did mention, there is going to be that contest going up tomorrow, but there's also going to be a ton of other content going up tomorrow and throughout the week. So stay tuned for that. There's quite a bit of, a lot of games that I've written about. Well, some of us have written about. So stay tuned for a lot more previews, so on and so forth. But thank you all for the continued support. And Gary, the floor is now yours.
Yep. So of course, I'm definitely gonna give a huge shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. That's M. Collins, Sean Gority, Stephen Ferron, Mauricio Aguilar, Himdil, Fergus Mills, Lelowin Leslie, Nicholas Alvarez, and Miguel, who is looking forward to Just Dance 2018 apparently. So yeah, shout outs to all of you guys.
Miguel's the homie.
Yeah, that's the homie for sure. I also wanted to give a shout out to someone who made a large one-off donation to us recently, James Davis, because we did reach out to him just to see why he made the donation and everything, and he's been saying that he's been listening to us for a few years now, and he actually discovered us on N4G, and he's been listening ever since. And, I definitely want to shout him out, because I know we have a lot of listeners like that who don't particularly make themselves known, and they don't comment, they don't, get in the chat and interact with us. But it's always good to hear, when people have been listening to us and, they reach out to us and let us know, like, we love that. We love hearing who our listeners are and stuff. So we definitely encourage that. But, of course, not everybody likes to be social. Some people want to just lurk and enjoy the show and stuff. So shouts to all you people too, anyone who listens to the show, period, shouts to all of you. And we do this for the love of video gaming, and it's great that we have this platform that we can come to every week and discuss video games. So yeah, I love it. And I even want to shout out Seth, because even though we go back and forth in the comments, I enjoy it. It's fun for me. I like the back and forth. I like the passion that shows, from video gamers. So yeah, definitely shout outs to all of you guys and everyone who joined us in the chat today, including Miguel, N8, Tony Polanco, Victor. Shout outs to all you guys, and thanks for watching the show.
Absolutely. Thank you all for the continued support, and we will talk to you all next week.
Yep. Thanks, you guys.